We have a new full-blown authoritarian manifesto from Donald Trump. Where do you think that it happened?
Truth Social.
Of course, it happened on Truth Social. And we really need to look at these as what they are, which is attacks on freedom of speech, attacks on the rule of law. Here's the first post from Trump that's so disturbing. Quote, "Everybody is saying that I was solely responsible for the firing of Stephen Colbert from CBS Late Night. That is not true. The reason he was fired was a pure lack of talent, and the fact that this deficiency was costing CBS $50 million a year in losses, and it was only going to get worse." Here's the critical part. Next up will be an even less talented Jimmy Kimmel, and then a weak and very insecure Jimmy Fallon. The only real question is who will go first. Showbiz and television are very simple businesses. If you get ratings, you can say or do anything. If you don't, you always become a victim. Colbert became a victim to himself. The other two will follow. That is what this is all about. The real issue here is there are comedians who make fun of Trump. That's the crime that they have committed. And the message that Trump is sending is, you criticize me, I'm going to try to get you fired. I'm going to try to get you ruined, or maybe even worse, maybe there's going to be legal implications. And this is the president of the United States. It's not an angry podcast host. This is the president with an authoritarian meltdown. That's how these regimes work. There's a long history of it in the 20th century. There's another post in which Trump goes after Chuck Grassley. Check this out. Quote, "Chuck Grassley, who I got elected to the U.S. Senate when he was down by a lot in the great state of Iowa, could solve the blue slip problem we are having with respect to the appointment of highly qualified judges and U.S. attorneys with a mere flick of the pen. Democrats like Schumer, Warner, Kaine, Booker, Schiff, and others, sleazebags all, have an ironclad stoppage of great Republican candidates. Put simply, the president of the United States will never be permitted to appoint the person of his choice because of an ancient and probably unconstitutional custom that if you have even one person in the opposite party serving in the U.S. Senate, they must give consent, thereby completely stopping the opposite party's nomination. The only way to beat this hoax is to appoint a Democrat or a weak and ineffective Republican. Therefore, I would never be able to appoint great judges or U.S. attorneys in California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Virginia, and other places where there is coincidentally the highest level of crime and corruption." So, okay, he's going after Chuck Grassley here. That's the whole point. He wants political loyalty. He doesn't want public service. And Trump says nothing about the independence of the judiciary or the qualifications. Trump wants to rubber stamp judges and U.S. attorneys in blue states. And because the Senate still observes this norm called the blue slip, which lets home state senators weigh in. And so if there's a nomination for a New Jersey, if there's a New Jersey nominee and a New Jersey senator says this isn't good for my state, they can sort of veto it in a sense. And by the way, both parties have abused it. Trump's not calling for reform, though. He's just calling for obedience. What Trump cares about is not allowing Democrats to interfere with his judicial choices in blue states. If the shoe were on the other foot, Trump would say, no, of course we need to let Ted Cruz say no to a Democratic president when they nominate someone to be a judge in Texas, for example. So the sort of workflow here is being laid out in the open. Loyalty to Trump overrides loyalty to your constituents. Of course, that's a classic with authoritarians. Free speech is a thing if it flatters Trump. If it criticizes Trump, well, then it's Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon will soon be losing their jobs. And then if there's a legal norm that stands in Trump's way, or there's a constitutional tradition, it should be shredded if it interferes with what Donald Trump wants. So he's testing the boundaries. And these posts to Truth Social, these are really messages to the allies. You either get in line and do what I say, or I will work to destroy you. You might be a senator, you might be a late night talk host. And it's a message to us that we've just got to shut up and take it. We will know in 14 months, 16 months, in the midterms, does Trump get what he wants with regard to that subservience and loyalty, or are we going to do something about it? Now, on the bonus show today, we have a phenomenal, phenomenal show. We will talk about the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle backlash, another one of these cultural clashes. Josh Hawley's stock trading ban is creating a little bit of panic in the White House, and we'll also get an update on that infamous missing minute from the FBI version of the Epstein prison tape. All of those stories and more are on today's bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money.
Yes.
Everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
That's right. Sign up at joinpakman.com. Every time you do, Alex Jones sheds one more tear. I'll see you then. I'll be back tomorrow. I've been researching my family tree for years, and the tool that I keep coming back to is MyHeritage. I started using it long before they ever became a sponsor. And what I love about MyHeritage, what really makes it powerful, are the features that simplify building the family tree. The other day, I used instant discoveries to uncover an entire new branch of my family I didn't even know existed with just a single click. I also found an old black and white photo of a relative, and I used MyHeritage's photo colorizer tool to really bring it to life. It's amazing what you can uncover: immigration papers, census scans, records from over 33 billion historical documents. Like if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm showing a scan of an immigration document from when a relative of my mom arrived at Ellis Island, which I found on MyHeritage, which just makes it easy and fun. Maybe you're just getting started with your family tree. Maybe you're picking up where a family member left off. It's a great time to dive in, and you can try it totally free for 14 days by going to davidpakman.com/myheritage. The link is in the description.